Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. You got your man Howard Greenberg here. Big guy Stephen Big Beat Orr is still in New York. I think he's over at Benzinga getting some awards today for Quasar Markets and our AI platform. So great to see that. Sorry we don't have him here. Market is definitely hitting a struggle today after finishing up almost, over half a point. QQQ and SPY just under half a point yesterday. What we are seeing is that Russia, first we heard we heard some unsubstantiated announcements that Russia or that the Ukraine had used some Russian U.S. missiles against Russia. Now Russia is saying that, so it has definitely taken a little bit of a hit on the market here. You can see we actually it's 7 a.m. We were up around 500. We've lost about 6 points here on QQQ. SPY, same type of setup. You can see it looks almost exactly the same. So since that news has come, we've just dropped pretty much, straight down. So, we'll see what we get here as we open and what's going on. But obviously, geopolitical news seems to be the headlines first thing this morning. Will mention that I saw the 10-year had dropped down to about 4.34. So a little bit of a drop there. Also a little bit of the drop on the Dixie on this news too. Let's see if that's still the case. Actually, now it's back up a little bit. It had dropped down last hour, so the dollar is starting to pick up. And you can see it finally broke out of that symmetrical triangle we talked about with Stephen Flanagan yesterday. Did make a break to the downside here, and now trading down about 106,289. Bitcoin had made another run here this morning, got up as high as 92,836 before again everything sort of dropped in tandem on the news. Even gold, again, this is where we're seeing some things that don't necessarily make sense. Gold, Bitcoin should quite honestly be flights to safety here, but not necessarily see that. Okay, so that's where we're at on a bigger level here as we start to look at some individual things going on today, some bigger movers. SMCI, so far the big winner on the day, up about 25% here in pre-markets to $27. Had even broken above that at one point, got as high as 30.75 here this morning. Again, starting to drop down with the bad news and everything else. Also, but huge move up there after, yesterday they said that they're going to file, and it looks like they have compliance plans. Their auditor has got that in place. So good to see that in general on there. And that is a good start for us across SMCI. I will say HCWB, one of the pumpers we were watching yesterday. I did not get in it on time. We looked at it yesterday morning right around, I think it was this stop right around here. It was right around 120. It made a move all the way up to 258. It is trying again to make a move here this morning. It's up about 20% pre-market after being up 300% yesterday. So again, one of these ones to avoid delisting, needed to get above $1, did it pretty successfully. And now, as we've seen on these, they tend to try to repeat. We've seen, pump one, pump two. We usually see third pump here. So one you could still look at again. That's a smaller HCWB is the ticker on that. CBAT, I noticed, was up about 10% here this morning in pre-market hours. So again, EV producer, CBAT, getting a little bit of love here this morning, up about 10%. So interesting one. Could have some legs here. I was watching this. You could look for a retracement play here. Really got beat up. It was at a high of about $1.21, earlier this month. And you can see what the beatdown sort of taken there, as most of those sort of ESG plays have. But if you're looking for something maybe for a bounce back, there you go there. Some other ones I was looking at, OKLO, we spoke about that yesterday. I told you the trade we were trying to get into. We were trying to get into a 19 $23 spread, a call spread on Oklo yesterday. Weren't able to do that. Part of that news is the new Trump appointee. One of the Trump appointees is on the board of Oklo. Is part of the reason that got that pump. It's a nuclear play though that had already been getting some pretty good pumps over here over the past. One that I definitely wanted to get in on. It's back at 1989. Yesterday, my line was if it got above 20, give it a run. And again, it got as high as 22.15. Nice 10% move up there if you did go in at that 20 yesterday, but it has retraced. I still like it if we can get a bounce off of this 1942 level or even a move back down to this 18, and then let's see if we can see it start to move back to the upside. Would want to see, again, a little bit more continuation. You can see we're still in the downtrend on the hourly linear regression for sure. Would want to see something more positive to the upside, but Oklo is definitely one I'm still interested in. After we left yesterday, BKKT took off 162%. I've talked about BKKT in the past, just recently, quite honestly, a few times because I thought they were something that could see some nice momentum. The reason they moved up yesterday is that it looks like they are going to get acquired by DJT, not Donald Trump himself, but his company, the media company DJT, looking to acquire Bakkt. Bakkt is interesting. They are one of the companies like Paxos, like Custodia, that really got hurt under the previous or current administration now, the Biden administration. This is a company that tried to do its best to be a fully regulated, licensed crypto market for institutional investors, and really got shot down at pretty much every step of the way that they could get, pressured from the SEC, CFTC, OCC, and such. I mentioned it when we talked last week about when crypto started to take off as a Trump trade. Bakkt was one of the companies like Coinbase I said to keep an eye on. Didn't think it would get acquired by DJT as part of it, but they definitely. And what I'll point out here is I was mentioning it to some other people yesterday. Bakkt is a company that you probably use without knowing it. And when I say that is if you are buying crypto using Plaid, to do the credit card to crypto exchange, you're using Bakkt. They're the ones that partner with Plaid to make that product available. And then they white label. So if you use Webull to buy crypto, it used to be Robinhood. I think Robinhood has built out their own now, but it used to be Robinhood's crypto and a few other places out there. They are actually the ones that do it, and they're very big in custody of Bitcoin and assets and things. So very much a pick and shovel type company, one that I like, that I think there. Bakkt also is partly owned by ICE, the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange too. So again, this could be one, as I mentioned, that has a connection between TradFi and the crypto world, that I would still keep an eye on. Don't know that I necessarily like it at 31.91, to be honest with you, when it was trading yesterday at 10 or 11. Would definitely be looking for at least a half measured move back here. So that's probably one to look at that you could possibly short on a short-term move today. Let's take a look at this. So if we draw its measured move up yesterday and even cut the measured move to where it stayed for at least an hour here, right about there. You could look for a move back here to about 23.73, and that's where I would then maybe be looking to enter along. But definitely one you could keep an eye. Let's put a little line here at that spot, 23. What did I say it was? Right about 23.80. Okay, so we'll take a look, see if it makes a measured move back there. Tough one because merger and acquisition, we've been talking about that. That definitely still seems to be in play here. So one to keep an eye on. Not to beat a dead horse, also, you guys have heard me talk more about Mara than a lot of other companies. Yesterday, they dropped down significantly after announcing that they would be doing a $850 million offering. Um, and actually, it was going to be a 700 million. It is actually been oversubscribed, so now it's looking like they are going to get to 850, excuse me, $1 million. The reason that to me this is actually a bullish sign and not a bearish sign. A lot of times, what you're doing is diluting the shares and all that. They're doing this to follow in the steps of MicroStrategy, and they are using it to pay off some convertible next year debt that they had, but more they're doing it to buy Bitcoin for their treasury. So again, we know what MSTR has done over the past couple of years here as they have made that move, right? Let's pull up for them. And even if you look at their stock yesterday when it was announced that they had, they announced last week that they were buying another $42 billion in Bitcoin over the next 21 months. They made their first huge buy already. I'll pull up the exact numbers, but it was about $5 billion in Bitcoin. And, you can see what that stock price has done here on MSFT. I don't think the news has got, I know the news hasn't hit Main Street media in the way that we've seen, this happen to where, Mara is doing the same thing. So, to me, once that gets sort of woken up, the sleeping giant there that could be Mara, I am definitely interested. So I am looking here to get into some Mara. I actually am looking, I put in a couple of sell orders on my Bitcoin BTCL. Those that have been watching know I have been in a trade for a few days here in BTCL, which is the 2x play on Bitcoin from T-Rex, Matthew Tuttle and his boys there. I got into it here before it gapped up when it was consolidating in that 36 range. So I have put in actually for a sell order of half of it at 53 if it matches pretty much yesterday's high. And then I'm still going to hold for 55 because I think Bitcoin could make a move here today. And I think it's going to try to challenge all-time highs. I don't know that it's so far not enough legs to get through it, but it does definitely look like it wants to challenge it. So I am looking to exit there, and part of that is just that I think at that point my upside potential starts to diminish, and I'm looking to reallocate some money. Again, I'm not selling any of my Bitcoin at that rate or those places, but I am looking. I've been in the 2x there. We'll also mention, haven't noticed if it hit so far. A lot of talk that we could see options open up on IBIT today. Let's see if that has happened yet. Also seeing if did not get a fill yet on BTCL, so I will keep you updated so you guys know because I did enter the trade here in the room. IBIT options are live. IBIT options are live right now. They're just monthly. Oh, no, they're not. There's no prices. Well, at least on Robinhood, there's no prices filled in on it yet. So we'll see there. But IBIT options are looking to go live. That would be very interesting to see. I think that's going to bring a couple of days of heavy volatility into the markets. Okay, it's about 9:15. What are we seeing here across? So we are seeing a bounce back up. So after that news on Russia, that I think spooked people, looks like we are starting to calm down here, and maybe people not worried that World War III on the way quite yet. And QQQ has retaken 500 here, so that's good to see. We had tumbled about 1% on that Ukraine-Russia tensions. You never want to see that. We do have earnings, some that already hit lows. Let me get to today's watch list here. And I'm going to have to actually look at this because Lowe's had moved up nicely immediately after earnings were released, but is now down 1.16%. Does look like it is moving, trying to move up now. It hit a low of 263, now back up at 268. So Lowe's, and they had a beat on EPS, as you can see, was estimated to be $2.82, came in at $2.89. And then their top line revenue was estimated to come in at 19.93 billion, came in at 20.17 billion. So a little bit of a beat on both ends. Thing I saw was they talked about that big ticket items were struggling a little bit. So that was sort of the softness in their report was just a little bit based upon big ticket items, a drop there, which could be a little bit, sort of telling to what we might expect to see, um, in general. So we'll keep an eye on that. Treasury rates, as I mentioned, were falling. Gold was holding nicely above 2,600 here, 2628. We'll mention yesterday, for those that were watching Market Minds here through Quasar Markets or through Prosper Trading, Scott Bauer and his guest yesterday were talking about that it might be a nice time to buy the dip on gold here for a move back up. So those of you that were looking to say, is this a time to get in? I did hear them talk about that yesterday. Personally, I'd more be looking at that 2,600 level again. I want to see how it tests that. That had been the resistance here throughout earlier in the week, and it's been a spot where it's historically had some support and resistance in that area that is held up, as you can see. Here, this is the hourly chart, so you can kind of see where it's had some times where that 2,600 has been a big number lately. You're sort of bullish above it, bearish below it, in my opinion, right now on gold. So we'll keep an eye there. We are at, right now, the 10-year down, like I said, 4.369. And it had even hit as low as 4.34 earlier here. Again, moving in the other direction now. Pre-market trading on the Spider sector funds sees everything except for XLP, which is consumer staples, in the negative right now. So only consumer staples above. WTI oil is about flat versus yesterday, holding at about that 69 26 level, so $69.26 level. You can see that's where yesterday, and even going back to last week, that's been the big spot where it keeps getting rejected here. So we'll see here if we can break through that. 69 back up to the 70s before we see the next retracement again. Steve's been pointing out, and you can see those Rangers are still holding so far. So personally, I think that it will run out of steam here, and that 69 handle not make it all the way to 70. You could look to fade UCO on that type of play if you are so inclined. Tick negative about 269 here as we get into the early morning, still before pre-market openings. ASST, which had a big day to the upside yesterday, getting hit kind of hard, was up about 7.5%, has given back more than half of that here. I was looking to see if it was going to give it a bounce at that half measured move back on there, didn't. So sort of took it off my watch list. The one that has so far is ASTS. Again, if we look at this, AS, ASTS. I always struggle with that. You can see it made its first measured move up from about 21.49, got as high as 24.48, but you can see more stop. We don't look at the wicks. We look at where the candles are in this area in 24.19. If we superimpose that again, we see we actually wicked up and touched that and has now dropped back in below, and it looks like it's going to try to make a full move measured retrace. So I'd be looking for a retrace here to about 24.23 on ASTS, ASTS 24.23. So keep an eye on that. I'm going to put it on my sheet here to 25.02. I don't think you're going to see 24.23 today. And then that could put it in play for me for a bounce back up from that point. So let's keep an eye on that. Other ones I was looking at, Boeing made that half measured move back to here, right to the spot where I said if it broke yesterday that I sort of liked it for a long play, right? It did make it above that. It is now using that as support, so I'm really liking Boeing here. This might be the time. I will tell you too, Steve did make his move out of Boeing. Um, So that is great to see. He hit that. He did get out of Apple. Also, hasn't hit us up with anything that he got into today. I know he's got a busy day, so probably tough for him to trade. But me personally, again, for someone looking for more of a bigger long-term play here, I do like Boeing at this spot it's at right now, right about 141.60. If it holds above that right now, it's at 142.10. So I'm going to watch, and if it can hold above that today, I might look. So I'm looking at if Boeing stays above that 141.60, is definitely interesting for me. Those were a couple of the bigger ones I saw here this morning that I wanted to bring up to the crowd. The other one that's made a half measured move back, Constellation Energy. It's just tough for me here to play the energy plays right now. But this is one again that, had made the nice move up yesterday to 232.97 and now has pulled back about a half measured move almost exactly here and trying to find some support. So that's the undercut and rally we like to see. But I want to see a little bit more conviction out of the market here today before I can make those moves. So definitely like that. Coinbase is giving back a little bit of its, rise yesterday, and a little bit of an M formation kind of forming here, in my opinion. A little bit of an M, kind of tough to see, but it is starting to look that way, or a little bit of a double top, you could say here on Coinbase from yesterday. So we'll see what we get there. Again, that's one. Let's draw that out. As you guys know, I do like Coinbase as a long-term play, but I'm more looking here and saying, let's see what our measured moves look like. That's definitely the first one you made up. We put it above, so it made almost exactly that half measured move, right? You can see right to that sort of spot here. I do want to take that out of there. Validating in this area though. I think on this one I'd have to see a break over 326.70 would give me a little bit of a continuation here at 342. So that's actually more rejected at that phase here. I do think you see a retracement back down to this level of at least 307. So this one you definitely have play. Coinbase is definitely in play here. Keep an eye on it today. My pivot point on it on coin is about that 326.70 area. I'm going to put a little alert in and see if it hits that at all today. So we'll see if it breaks through there because that could be an interesting. That's definitely undercut and rally at that point. Continuation play for a run back up to that 344 level. We'll have a little resistance at 333, but I'd be willing to take a look there. I don't know. You could also just wait for 332, and then it's all green sky above. Huh. Well, I want to know when it gets above this 327. That will give me some time, and then I can make my decision there. But definitely interested in Coinbase to the upside still, personally. I don't think the Bitcoin trade is done yet, the crypto trade done. I think we're still early in it. Mealy broke back above 19 yesterday, one that we did well last week with. Keeping an eye there, seeing if we get a retracement into that 1850 level again. I'm more waiting to see on some opportunities to buy some dips to the upside or to fade some of these rallies as they break here. Neo's one that I was looking at more on a fade here than a high. I was hoping it made a little bit more of a run back towards that 485 area here. And I like a fade on Neo from that 485 area. So we'll see what happens there. Nvidia, tomorrow's earnings, it was getting a little bit of love here, was running again before that Russian news came out, took a little bit of a hit, now trying to retrace. Does look like in general we are retracing most of that. We are about 4 minutes from the open here, 4 minutes from the open. And you can see we've done a half mean reversion up from that loss that we took on the news out of Russia. Seeing Walmart beat earnings here. Let's take a look at WMT. That should be on my today's watch list. WMT now up 3.65%. And it says Walmart struck a confident tone ahead of the holiday shopping season, raising its financial forecast for the fiscal year and reporting higher earnings than expected. If we take a look at earnings here, we see a nice little beat here on EPS. They were expected to come in at about 53.3 cents, came in at 58 cents. And on the top line, not as huge a beat. They were expected to come in at 167.7 billion, basically. Came in at 169.6. So a beat there on both sides. We want to see that. They saw strong demand across merchandise categories. Company also continues to see market share gains from higher income households. So again, people trading down and shopping at Walmart. Said we had a stronger quarter, continuing our momentum. CEO Doug McMillon said. Walmart said that in the fiscal year ending in January, it now expects net sales will rise between 4.8 to 5.1%. It's a pretty good beat because they had previously expected 3.75 to 4.75. So this is the first one that I've seen on earnings that their now low end is above what was the high end. So that is pretty bullish, and that you can see that would be why Walmart, still continuing to rise at 3.9% here. Be interesting to see what it does when it hits 88. That is a little bit of a resistance zone. I'll be watching here if it can get up to 88. Yeah, and even Walmart's, and then it said even projections on the Wall Street call for sales to rise by 4.6. So again, 4.8 the low end. So good look for a Walmart here. It says Walmart, as we know, has long been seen as a bellwether for financial health of U.S. consumers, just thanks to its sheer size. This is an interesting one. Their CFO did say U.S. customers remain resilient with behaviors largely consistent over the past 4 to 6 quarters. They continue to seek value to maximize their budgets while also choosing convenient options to save time. Management also said the company has seen strong back-to-back school and Halloween sales, which are an encouraging sign that demand is maintaining its momentum into the final stretch of the year. General merchandise is also selling well. They added with strength in home decor, toys, and apparel. Okay, so we'll see. It's starting to get a little bit of hit here. We just opened. Market is open. Let's get quickly over to the tick, see what's going on. Ooh, Nick tick just opened at minus 800. Bitcoin holding pretty steady at 91,400 here. Gold holding fairly. Coin just crossed 320. Okay, so coin trying to run here already this morning. Wait a second. It's rising. So it's trying to move. It didn't break that 326.70 I was looking for. I don't know why it gave me an alert there. Seen a little bit of a drop on Bank of America here since the open. VIX, woo. Mara bumps up 378. Man, I said that. Loved Mara here. Nice move up. Here it goes, 376. Do think people are starting to realize what they're spending that money on and waking up to it. So again, I do like Mara here though. Under 19 still a win. Yesterday I said to buy it if it broke 20. So I'm not going to tell you not to buy it at 1880 here. So I would have liked it better a little lower. Was hoping to see a little bit of pullback still before that news broke across everything here, but it does look like it has broken. BKKT now up another 15%. Look at that gapper go. I said, man, it's tough to try to make a move on that at the levels that it was at, but you got to think, this is a stock that was trading at 68.75, earlier this year. $69. So it's definitely going to be a pumper here today. Definitely going to be a pumper here today. It's pumping for sure. Crypto stuff's definitely pumping here. Mara giving a little bit back. Coinbase tried to break above that 320.70. Wasn't able to do it though. So that remains to be the line. We keep failing at that spot, then we'd start to look for a fade from there. MSTR pretty flat so far on the day. Bitcoin pretty much sticking at this 91,428 here. Gold holding fairly steady. Let's see what else we've got going on. Coinbase is trying to break through that spot. Moving here. PLL, I'm interested in this. Piedmont Lithium here. Making a move up. Piedmont Lithium making a move up. This one got hit pretty hard. 1305. If it breaks 1324, watch out. So PLL 1324, if it can break it. Man, that Coinbase keeps going back and forth through that same line that we talked about at that 326.70. So keeping an eye here. PLL, let's see if it can break that 1325. Put in an alert on that. You can see Coinbase keeps trying to break that 320.70 but can't. We're now at 1850. Factory trace below 35. SMCI up and down 19.5%. That's continuing to drop here. To be honest with you there, that looks like a fade. SMCI definitely looks like a fade here. Could look for a fade down to that 23 level from where it's at right now. SMCI, I would look to fade here. SMCI down to about 23. Let's see. I'll try to get in on that here. And IBIT options are alive. IBIT options are alive on Bitcoin. I'll have to take a look and see what they look at later. Oklo getting some love here. It's another one. If it can break 21.11, look here. Although I actually say, I'm gonna take a look here, see if I can't get Oklo. Might be able to get into that same one I was trying to get into yesterday. Ah, it's running on me too quick. Whoops. It's not bad. Let's see if I could get it for like 110. Might try to get in on a 21.25 spread here. 21.25. So we get a little bit of a dip. It's trading at $1.25 now. I was hoping to get something closer. Max profit 275. I don't know. I gotta see a little bit more. Yeah, there it goes. It's gonna make that too. Yeah, 130 now on that. Let's see if we can find one before that. BITF I'm interested in here. What I've been talking about. Let's see what these options look like. We're gonna have BITF here, Bitfarms. Actually, I want to look at Mara first. See what some options look like here for next month. It's not too bad at all. I'll reach out to our options guys here and see what they think. Okay, I did reach out there. Okay, what else do we got going here? Tick still negative, about 200. Can see SPY's down half a point now, so we are definitely seeing some sell-off here again today. Pull up the SPY here, see if I can't figure out what I think we do here. What I'll be watching for. So this is an interesting one. On the hourly here, let's pull that up and take a better look at it. Oops, wrong thing. Just curious to see if these fib levels are playing out at all. Not on the bigger move. Let's see on this move. Not really. I think I just see it. I mean, it looks like. Yeah, not really much I'm seeing there. Yeah, QQQ, we know 500's the key spot to regain here. Break above 500, we could move back up to that 505 area, but we'd have to break solidly through that 500. Bitcoin trying to challenge 92 again here. Again, it did get to 92.8, so it got to its second highest move all time. WTI moving up a little bit more here too, so gas getting a little bit of a bid here, usually what we see in times of war, right? So when there's conflict, we see that moving up. Same thing, gold, right? Gold, I'm really watching that 50-day MA, like I said. Let's see what else we have going on here. Everything on CNBC is about, of course, Russia and the flight to safety here. I'm seeing a halt here. PRFX, PRFX. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is one that's definitely in play here. So this is PRFX. You can see he made his first move, second move, dropped since then. This is one I'd want to see break VWAP here, though. But a break above 136 here, you'd want to go. See what it does off the halt here. This one would definitely be in play. And what we're looking at is the VWAP right here. We can get a break above 136. Your first target would be 174, then 189 or so. So this is definitely one that's in play here. Let's see what it does on the open. Again, this is PRFX. PRFX. For one of these penny pumpers. Let's see what we get out of this. Let's see what else is going on. Let me save this to the watch list. Oh, okay. Let's put an alert on that for 136. Okay. We've got that set. Tick just went positive here, so I like to see that. SPY and QQQ pushing back up a little bit here. Bitcoin making a move here. 92,342 here. 92,342. Trying to make a move up again. It hit this 92,800 earlier today. Looking strong though here. Gold moving up a little bit too, now at 26.30. That's approaching that 50-day MA I talked about at 26, I think 55 in that area. See what it does there. Oil pushing up, trying to get above 70 here. ASST now down 7% here, so that did retrace the rest of the way down. ASTS continue to retrace too, so there's some of those ones we looked at said you could have faded. Definitely still playing to the downside here. Boeing though moving back up, so Boeing, nice move to the upside here, back at 144.51. I was hoping to see a continued pullback down to that 140 level for an entry, never got there. So Boeing, definitely nice move up here by Boeing. Coinbase made a big move through that 320.70 there, all the way up to 327.36. So it did make that move we talked about there. Let's see, almost all the way to that top area. Let's see if it can continue its move up. But it did break that 320.70 pretty convincingly there. Google up 0.7 of a point, so Mag 7 starting to turn around here. So we now see and Nvidia up almost 1.58%, Google up 0.6%, and Meta now up 0.1%. So a little bit of an upward move here as we take a look. See another halt here, KRKR. That's halted to the downside. Looks like PRFX reopened and then closed. Again. Yep. Tried to make it, never quite made it to that 136 we talked about that would trigger a trade to the upside. Rejected at about 130 and fell back down. So Nvidia continuing to push upward here. WMT also now up 3.22%. HCWB definitely giving back some of the gains here on the shorter term look. SMCI though holding up nicely. TSSI, if you were listening to me yesterday, I talked about TSSI. I liked it. This is a play on data centers, especially Dell-based data centers. Just entered the NASDAQ from being an over-the-counter stock. Got beat up pretty hard. Seems to be finding its consolidation here. Got nice room up to the $9 level here for sure. But I definitely like TSSI, as I've mentioned. BKKT, 33.75. Oklo here, 21.51. Up 4% here. Mara now above 19. Ugh, keeps running on me. Bitcoin 92,200 here, so it's trying. 92.2. pretty good. Gold 26.27, so it seems to be reverting back to that 26.25 area. Same thing, WTI, that 69, 65, 69, 50 area, sort of the area keeps on moving back towards. Again, after seeing a little bit of a move up, QQQ is sort of topping out here. Again, couldn't make that move above that 499 level. And same thing on SPY, 585, 60 seems to be the spot so far this morning. So we're in a fairly range-bound way so far. Let the alerts go off here. Piedmont Lithium trying to get to that line I talked about. It's a nice move up. Doge up 5% here today. Does look like Ripple giving back some gains here. Ripple back at 108. Still stays in that sort of bullish flag here. We can stay above 103.62, so not too bad there. Scott doesn't like that move. Okay. Let's take a look here. Ticks up about 90 here. So we are starting to find some legs. I think the market wanted to move up here today, but that, the Russian news sort of got it lagging there. Depot getting hit today. So the other one that I did not agree, as you guys know, with Steve on. Steve said Mickey was going to 150 here. I said to watch it for a pullback down another 2% here today. Yeah, big move down on Home Depot. Down 4, got as low as 399.44, back above the 400 level here. I like Home Depot for a bounce right here personally. Breaks above 402.87 here. I might give that a shot. I like Home Depot for a bounce back up here. Disney, a similar one here at that 111 for a quick scalp bounce. You could like it here. Uh-oh, alert's going off. PRFX. Pushing back up here. See what happens. PLL getting ready to cross that line here, approaching it here. So PLL and PRFX both in play here as we get close to the 10 o'clock. Here it goes. PRFX, if it gets above this 136 here. I'm watching it. It is trying. Again, breakthrough VWAP here, and I am in. PLL again, another one if it gets through that 1325. PLL looks like it might be stopped, but it doesn't show it that way. Wow, look at that. Rejected right at that 136. You can see that is the line here. That's that PRFX rejected right at 136. That's now the third time. See what it does here. So it's stuck at 127. Bitcoin back below 92. So that's where it's fighting today, that 92K. Love to hear that, though. Love to hear that it's fighting at 92. It's trying 136. If it breaks it, I think it gets pretty explosive here, but I want to see it do it. It's trying. We're going to go. We're in. There it goes. I just got my fill. See what happens here. 136. So I'm in on PRFX at 136 here. Got up to 138 for me. I'm looking for 158. See what we get. Stuck at 136. Got to 138 again. 138 seems to be the spot here for me. I got to get through. Got to get through that 138 if I can. I think I get a quick scalp right up to my target here that I've got at 158. Ooh, rejected hard at that 136 again. Man, come on. Give me some legs, PRFX. I need some volume to step in. It's looking like it's trying. Seeing two of the three. Need a squeeze alert to hit to get the perfect trifecta on the B4 indicator here. But it is trying. We are 2 minutes away from the end of our hourly show here. Keep in mind, we do have Jeremy Vreeland and Matthew Tuttle up at 11:30 with the watch list. They've been all over it. I'm sure they'll be covering OKLO while they're doing it. MSTR, MSTU. They'll be all over Bitcoin. Watch them. They have been doing unbelievable work. Struggling to get across this here. Getting a little nervous that I can't get the volume I need here on PRFX. And then we have Scott Bauer at 1 o'clock, like always. Market Minds from the floor of the SIBO. So great programming for you today. As we get towards the end of this hour here, I will keep us updated again. I am in at 136. It's now trading at about 134. I'm looking for 158 here for my target. So we'll see how that goes. Again, for my man, Big Beat Stephen Orr, who can't be there today as he's traveling, I want to say everybody have a great day trading there. Join us again tomorrow morning for more morning look at the market.